Hi, Jeev Golair, Fáilte go Héireann ar an lá speisialta seo. It's 10 a.m. here in Ireland on a crisp, dry November morning. I'm Damien White and I recently retired after 30 years as a school principal of Schullhinkle National School in beautiful County Offaly in the Irish Midlands. During that time, I was founder member of the Irish Primary Principals Network, or IPPN, who this week celebrate 25 years of supporting primary school leaders. I served as president of IPPN from 2019 to 2021 during the dramatic and traumatic COVID years. Through IPPN, I became involved in the International Confederation of Principals, or ICP, and I'm currently the European representative on their board. And this is how I came in contact with Gabriel Rashid, who is spearheading this particular event today. He asked me to help with the Irish leg, and of course I couldn't say no. So 24 hours for change, Ireland style. Later, we'll hear from Finbar Hurley, Primary Leadership Coordinator of IDGA, on a unique and groundbreaking initiative to support leaders in small schools in our most isolated rural communities. We will hear from Anya Fitzpatrick, principal of a large school, Mary Mother of Hope Primary School in West Dublin, with a wonderful presentation on her school's innovative approach to the promotion of school well-being. And I will also be chatting with Dr. Catherine Corbett, principal of Bishop Galvin School in South Dublin and founder, along with her second-level colleague Rachel O'Connor, of the WILL Network, WILL, Women in Learning and Leadership. We will begin with IPPN CEO Pádraig Clerkin, who has given us, or will give us, an overview of his organisation's seminal study on the sustainability of school leadership and how, by working together, we can help school leaders worldwide not just to survive but to flourish and thrive in the role. So, Pádraig.
My name is Pádraig Clerkin. I am CEO of the Irish Primary Principals Network. Today I'd like to outline the progress that we're making in Ireland regarding our Sustainable Leadership Project and our plans for the future. I also hope to plant some seeds concerning potential opportunities to further the aspiration towards creating an environment where school leadership can thrive and does not have a negative impact on health and well-being. The focus of IPPN's work in recent years has been very much on the sustainability of leadership. But now we want to explore the possibility of reframing that narrative and to focus on the creation of the conditions that would allow leadership to flourish and thrive. Engagement with international colleagues confirms that the vast majority of jurisdictions are experiencing the same challenges as Irish school leaders. And regardless of the differing ways in which leadership is resourced and supported infrastructurally, there is a shared frustration about the lack of opportunity to focus on our core mission of leading, teaching and learning. It is our view, and that of the Deakin International researchers, that if the following conditions existed, school leadership would be more sustainable, much more effective, and would not have an adverse impact on health and well-being. There would be clarity around the focus of the work of school leaders. There would be sufficient time to do that specific work. There would be appropriate governance and administrative structures that allow school leaders to lead effectively and focus on their core purpose. And there would be effective sharing of leadership. From an Irish perspective, we were convinced by late 2024 that this message to our policymakers was landing and that our advocacy work was about to yield dividends. We looked forward to announcements in last year's October budget, where we expected new measures to support leadership to be announced. That didn't happen, and we were extremely disappointed, to say the least. It seemed we had convinced our Department of Education, but not those controlling the overall purse strings. We needed a game changer. The game changer was the publication by UNESCO of its annual Global Education Monitoring Report around September 2024, referencing IPPN research. The report's specific focus was on leadership in education at all levels, with a particular emphasis on the potential for school leadership to be transformative and why that potential is not being realised. The report outlines clear recommendations to policymakers as to what needs to happen in the leadership space. Regarding school leadership, the report states that there is a diminished focus on core purpose, and when school leaders spend too much time on administrative or operational work, they have less time to observe classrooms, mentor teachers, guide instruction, monitor student learning, and lead improvements in pedagogy. The report concludes that this is having a negative impact on learning outcomes. The stress, burnout, and job dissatisfaction associated with heavy administrative burdens are also noted, the conclusion being that overworked leaders are less able to engage creatively or transformatively with teaching and learning. The report offers recommendations that are designed to strengthen leadership in education at all levels, so that education systems can better deliver learning for all. Messages such as don't divert school leaders from their core purpose. Reduce the administrative workload of principals so that they can focus more on instruction. Delegate non-instructional and management tasks to others where possible. Move away from lone hero models. Leadership should be distributed and shared, with middle leaders having clearly defined roles and responsibilities. So why was the report such a game changer in Ireland? It was widely acknowledged that the publication of the GEM report had focused minds. Despite the fact that the Irish Primary Principals Network and our post-primary colleagues NAPD had been saying exactly what was contained in the GEM report for a number of years, now that an international voice had drawn attention to the issue, action needed to be taken. And action was taken. We have 2 pilot research programs running. Clustered administrative officers in smaller schools and administrative executives in larger schools. Both roles are intended to remove the non-educational administrative burden from the desk of the school leader, in the hope that it will afford more time for those leaders to focus on teaching and learning. In a moment, I'll explain to you the impact the Clustered Administrative Officers project is having on the practice of school leadership in small schools that are participating in the project. We are also lobbying for a greater allocation of leadership time to schools to facilitate the enactment of our new curriculum, and we have received soundings that this is being actively considered. It was seeing the impact that this international focus had on our system that got us thinking. It struck us that many organisations around the globe have focused on the sustainability of leadership, much of it underpinned by data and independently commissioned research. Add to that the power of the international voice and the influence of international networks, such as International Confederation of Principals and the European School Heads Association, where our collective voice is louder and more impactful. What if we were to try to exploit these 2 dynamics to assist us in having greater impact on school leadership practice across the world in terms of influencing and shaping policy reform locally? What if we were to join forces to collaborate on an international research project in response to the UNESCO GEM report. This could deepen what we already know and provide insights that further strengthen the evidence base. Working together in this way would give the profession a stronger international voice and support efforts to bring about local reforms and improvements. Findings and recommendations from this work, especially when backed by respected international bodies, would carry significant weight and would help shape national policies and practices. We've had initial conversations with ICP, with ESHE, and with the research team in Deakin, who have worked on school leadership, health and wellbeing research around the world. We have been met with an enthusiastic response from all. Let's remember, whether the focus on sustainable leadership is at national or at global level, one universal truth is accepted: school leadership matters. So there's an imperative to ensure that the conducive conditions exist for school leaders to flourish and thrive, leading to a consequential positive impact on schools and students. We need to move the discourse on school leadership beyond the limited ambition of it merely being sustainable. And we should aspire to the creation of the conducive conditions that would allow it to flourish and thrive. This potential research collaboration could be the catalyst for initiating that international conversation about school leadership, with a view to better ensuring its effectiveness and the consequential effectiveness of schools all around the world. Ireland will collaborate with the European School Heads Association and the International Confederation of Principals in hosting an international conference in 2027. This conference will offer the opportunity to unpack the learning from that international research and arm us all with evidence to advocate as effectively as possible at local level for the creation of conditions conducive to thriving school leadership. The students in our schools will be the ultimate beneficiaries. If your national organisation is interested in participating in this international research, or if you would like to learn more about this research opportunity, or about the conference that IPPN will organise in November 2027, please contact Brian O'Doherty. Brian's email address is brian.o'doherty@ippn.ie. I'll hand over now to Finbar, who will explain the impact that one of the pilot projects underway in Ireland is having on the practice of school leadership in smaller schools. Thank you.
Thank you, Pádraig. That was inspirational, and indeed I hope that you've gotten something and you've gained something from hearing on the wonderful work that is going on through IPPN towards improving the sustainability of school leadership and bringing it to a point where principals are flourishing. As I mentioned in my intro, we now have one of those projects that will help, I hope, to support a lot of principals who are in small schools, in isolated schools, in rural settings. And one of our board in IPPN, our next board member, is Finbar Hurley. Finbar, as I said, had an ex-principal, has been a principal both in Ireland and abroad in international schools in Brussels and so on. Vast experience as a school leader, but he has brought the wealth of his experience and the breadth of his experience to the project supporting small schools. So just sit back and enjoy Finbar's presentation on supporting small schools and bringing a perspective on how we can, in a practical way, make the job of a school leader in a small school more sustainable. As I said, about 55% of our principals are teaching principals. So that means that they are in a school of less than 178 children. So you get an idea of the types of schools, and many of the schools that will be supported by Finbar's work. So sit back and enjoy Finbar now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Damien. I am delighted to have the opportunity to speak about the Department of Education and Youth's Small School Action Research Project, and particularly the impact the project is having on the Donegal cluster. The project was developed with education partners following an initial IPPN proposal that was supported by the CPSMA, that's the Catholic Primary School Management Association, and the INTO, the Irish National Teachers Organisation. The three organisations received invaluable supporting guidance from Professor Anne Looney, the Dean of Education at Dublin City University, as part of the programme of work of the Primary Education Forum. 6 clusters of small schools were formed under the project, 2 in Galway and 1 in each of Donegal, Kerry, Wicklow and Waterford, consisting of between 3 and 5 schools per cluster. The clusters are supported by part-time local coordinators sponsored by the education partners, working with a national coordinator from IDEA, the Department of Education and Youth Support Service, under the guidance of a steering group. As the Donegal Cluster Coordinator, I hope what I share today demonstrates how the various initiatives undertaken to date can make a significant difference for teaching principals. But before I begin, I want to thank the 4 principals of the Donegal Cluster, Lorraine, Rachel, Coach and Diana, for their creativity, vision, tenacity and commitment to the project. Their openness and collaboration have been central to this success. When thinking about how to begin this input with you today, this phrase on the slide is the one that encapsulated everything. We had an online meeting recently where we began to discuss the organisation of an upcoming event, and Andrea, the cluster executive officer, pipes up and says, "And I look after that." One of the principals smiled and said, "There you go. That is what this role means in one small phrase. For once, there is someone looking after me and taking work from me without even having to be asked." The Department of Education and Youth launched the Small Schools Action Research Project in 2021, and the Donegal cluster began towards the end of that year. We didn't know what was ahead. The project brief was to identify challenges that small schools face and to trial innovative solutions to answer these challenges. During the first phase of the project, one of the main objectives was to build trust and a collaborative culture in the cluster. These principals had not worked together before, and we felt that it was imperative that they got to know each other and build relationships which are fundamental for any effective team. They engaged in group coaching provided by IDEA Coaching, and this was the genesis of something incredibly special, as it built openness and trust amongst the principals. Throughout phase 1, the 4 principals worked together, brought staff and children together with a real emphasis on pedagogy. The schools created shared learning experiences for the children, like common music lessons, culminating in a cluster concert for the combined school communities, as well as problem solving through chess lessons and competitions. These combined pedagogical activities gave children opportunities to get to know others in a different school and build friendships. These newly formed friendships proved pivotal for children transitioning to post-primary school. Time was scheduled for staff across the schools to collaborate and share practice, to engage in common professional learning experiences from IDEA professional learning leaders, which enhanced their practice, thus impacting on learning, teaching and assessment practices in their school. This allowed for professional conversations and the sharing of perspectives that may not have been considered in their school contexts heretofore. When the project was extended to phase 2, there was a real desire to push boundaries and look at how the administrative load of the role of the principal could be addressed. With that in mind, we developed a proposal for an executive officer, 4 hours a week per school, 16 hours across the cluster, and this proposal was submitted to the Department of Education and Youth. We got approval for the proposal, and the journey of having an executive officer for the cluster began in February 2025 with the appointment of Andrea, our executive officer, in May 2025. The introduction of the EO role has brought considerable benefits across the cluster, most notably in relieving the principals of the administrative load. The 4 principals consistently note that the capacity to delegate tasks such as procurement, book schemes, health and safety audits, policy drafting, and preliminary liaisons with external agencies has freed them to prioritise learning and teaching as well as leadership in their respective schools. One strong theme which has emerged is the efficiency gained. Tasks that once absorbed valuable leadership and teaching time are now managed systematically with paper trails, bulk ordering, and digital systems, all reducing the duplication and cost. The principals feel they are benefiting from enhanced organisation and preparedness, as the executive officer coordinated the summer works and emergency works this past summer, as well as managed audits and compliance demands. They really valued the fresh perspective of the EO, as not having an education background and having a different professional experience, they can identify streamlined approaches and solutions not immediately obvious to those immersed solely in education. This support has not only reduced workload, but also alleviated the mental strain of constantly researching and learning operational requirements outside of teaching expertise. For example, complying with procurement expectations. This is something that the EO has taken on and completes with efficiency. Everything we do in schools is for the betterment of the children in front of us. The feedback from across the cluster is that the impact the EO role is having on learning, teaching, and assessment practices is significant. The principals say the greatest benefit of having an executive officer lies in the time released back to pedagogy. With administrative tasks lifted from their shoulders, they can now concentrate more fully on classroom teaching, curriculum planning, assessment, and overall school development. This freeing up of time has allowed staff to revisit policies, reflect on practice, and engage in constructive professional dialogue about future priorities. This shift has brought renewed energy and focus, enabling meetings and collaborative sessions to become centred on pedagogy rather than paperwork and compliance. It has also led to improved resource management, with shared lists allowing access to sharing of resources from each other's schools without the duplication of purchases. The EO coordinates this movement of resources across the 4 schools in the cluster, allowing teachers to access a suite of resources that they would have not had before, thus widening the pedagogical approaches undertaken in the schools. Interruptions during lessons have reduced, with administrative issues redirected to the EO, giving the principals space to focus on children's needs. There is a stronger culture of professional reflection, improved inclusivity in teaching approaches, and greater progress in school improvement that has not been possible for years. For the 4 principals, having access to an EO is having a transformative impact on professional practice and well-being. A consistent message is the relief felt when substantial administrative burdens are lifted, freeing them to invest time in teaching, learning, and school development. This has resulted in stronger focus and increased morale across school teams with an enhanced sense of professional satisfaction and validation. It has strengthened the ability to function as leaders of learning rather than administrators of systems, improving the culture of leadership and the capacity for schools to thrive. The introduction of the EO role has significantly impacted the personal impact of the principals. They speak of the relief of knowing that someone else is carrying responsibility for essential operational tasks. This sharing of workload has lightened the burden, reduced stress, and eased the pressure of trying to meet the competing demands of administration and teaching. Importantly, the role has helped to diminish the guilt often associated with unfinished tasks that teaching principals constantly feel, replacing it with a stronger sense of achievement and control. This renewed balance has reignited motivation and created a more sustainable model of leadership. They all note the personal benefits: improved time management, reduced stress, and in some cases, the ability to experience genuine work-life balance for the first time in years. Looking to the future, Diana, Lorraine, Rachel and Coach express clear hopes that the EO role will be sustained and expanded as part of the legacy of the Small Schools project. A central aspiration is that the role becomes embedded with recognition at department level of the value it has already demonstrated in easing workload, strengthening organisation, and supporting teaching and learning, and thus the impact on children's learning. There is also desire for the role to develop further, with responsibilities that include compiling calendars of annual deadlines and coordinating recurring activities to streamline school planning. The hope is that the investments made so far will not be lost. The collective message is forward-looking: to retain, grow, and embed the EO role as an essential support for all small schools, ensuring sustainability and improved outcomes into the future. Across the cluster, there is optimism about the role's trajectory, with a clear sense that its full impact will emerge as principals continue to work together with Andrea over this school year. The professional skills that the EO brings, including management, analytical, and organisational strengths, alongside a willingness to adapt to the specific demands of school life, is proving invaluable to the cluster. Perhaps most significantly, the role has contributed to increased job satisfaction among the 4 principals, with one specifically referring to a reduced inclination to consider leaving the profession as the workload has become more manageable and there is more of an emphasis from their perspective on learning and teaching. The Programme for Government 2025 states that it will introduce a new national small schools project for all 1,300 small primary schools to protect these school communities and develop new administrative supports. This Department of Education and Youth Small Schools Research Project, driven by the IPPN, CPSMA and the INTO, is the first tangible step in realising this.
Well, thank you, Finbar. Every time I sit back and listen to Finbar, I learn something new, and I've been listening to Finbar for a long time. Next, we are looking at the whole area of well-being. And well-being is an international concept, I suppose, and it has been discussed at committee level in so many organisations. I know that in UNESCO, of course, there are directives on well-being and a charter on well-being. And it was with this in mind that Anya Fitzpatrick, a principal in a large school in Dublin, Mary Mother of Hope National School in Dublin, Anya and her staff looked at the UNESCO document and the recommendations, the directives, and they looked at how they can apply them practically in their school. Now, Anya has a presentation now of about 20 minutes, and I think that you will get a lot from this presentation, regardless of what your school setting is or where it is, and I hope you enjoy it. Thank you, Anya.
Thank you, Damien. Today I'm here as principal of a primary school to speak to you about well-being in the Irish curriculum, as Ireland is recognised internationally for its approaches to well-being in school settings. Our school, Mary Mother of Hope Senior National School, has hosted delegations of leaders from other countries to see what well-being in Irish schools looks like in practice. Today, I hope to give you a flavour of what well-being looks like in our school. But first, let me tell you a bit about us. Mary Mother of Hope Senior National School is a co-educational Catholic school with over 20 different nationalities represented and 38% of our pupils speaking English as an additional language. Our school welcomes children of all faiths and abilities, and we have a strong tradition of supporting pupils with additional and complex needs. In 2024, we opened an autism class, reflecting our ongoing commitment to the well-being, inclusion and the integration of all pupils in our community. In Mary Mother of Hope, we are very fortunate to have a dedicated, committed and highly professional staff. Our team includes 16 class teachers who teach pupils aged 8 to 12 years, 7 special education needs teachers and 11 special needs assistants who provide support to pupils with additional and complex needs. In Mary Mother of Hope, we strive to create a school where every child is cherished, respected and supported to reach their full potential in a safe and caring environment. We recognise that the pace of change in today's world is unprecedented, and in this constantly evolving world, our purpose is to support children in being confident, resilient and compassionate members of our school community today and engage productive citizens in the future. In our school, each child's well-being is our highest priority. We want our children to be well now, while also preparing them for becoming well in the future. This means supporting them to be healthy in every sense, physically, socially, emotionally and spiritually. Today I would like to share with you an overview of what well-being truly means in Mary Mother of Hope, what it looks like in action and how it shapes who we are as a school. As leaders, we want each child to feel safe, happy and engaged in learning, to be challenged and to be supported to achieve their best, to be physically and mentally well, to be kind, thoughtful, social, resilient, to care about themselves and others and to enjoy life. Our Deputy Principal, Aideen and I know that this cannot be achieved in school by leadership alone. It must be a whole school endeavour. Well-being should be seen, felt and heard every day in the lived culture of the school. That's what our ethos looks like in practice. Ultimately, this means continually reflecting on our core values, ensuring that they are understood and embraced by all members of our school community, so that our children can thrive in a school where they are happy, safe, learning and smiling. The foundation of well-being in Irish schools is grounded in Department of Education and Youth's policy and curriculum. The Irish curriculum is currently undergoing a period of change, so our school's wellbeing curriculum is currently being informed by the 1999 primary school curriculum, the new primary curriculum framework, the wellbeing policy statement and framework for practice, the school self-evaluation process. These key documents guide approaches to teaching and learning, shaping how each school fosters and supports the well-being of pupils. The Wellbeing Policy Statement and Framework for Practice outlines the Department's vision and ambition to ensure that every child's educational experience enhances, promotes, values and nurtures their well-being. The Wellbeing Framework providing the guiding principles for this approach. Following the challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic, schools were required by the Department of Education to refocus on the well-being of our children by engaging fully with this framework, including the well-being promotion in our existing school self-evaluation process. For schools, this process involved reviewing and developing wellbeing provisions, particularly with particular emphasis placed on the framework's 4 key areas of wellbeing promotion: culture and environment, curriculum, policy and planning, relationships and partnerships. In terms of policy and planning, Irish schools have a comprehensive set of whole school policies that reflect and support school ethos and vision. These policies provide the foundation on which schools build their wellbeing culture, policy and practice. In Mary Mother of Hope, these whole school policies include admissions policy, child safeguarding statement, code of behaviour, Beacon Alta, special education needs policy, attendance policy, AUP, mobile phone and smart device policy, our smartphone-free voluntary code. Each of these policies reflects our school commitment to supporting children's personal development and to nurturing their health and well-being in all aspects of school life. The primary school's curriculum subjects, social, personal and health education, SPHE, and physical education, PE, are central to our whole school planning for the teaching and learning of well-being. As an active school, our pupils engage in a wide variety of sports that promote physical fitness and mental well-being. We have developed strong partnerships with external sporting organisations such as the GAA, FAI, IRFU and Cricket Ireland. Our commitment to pupil well-being extends well beyond the school day. Staff volunteer their time to provide a range of after-school sports programmes, including Gaelic football, hurling, camogie, basketball, athletics and soccer. These partnerships and educational experiences provide pupils with opportunities to experience different sports in a supportive environment, encouraging them to join local clubs and to build lifelong sporting interests. The SPHE plan is central to pupil wellbeing and development in our school. Our SPHE coordinators ensures that there's a whole school approach to the effective implementation of the SPHE curriculum. Each class level follows a detailed yearly plan supported by a range of programmes and initiatives designed to promote the aims of SPHE. We implement all Department of Education programmes: Stay Safe, Relationships and Sexuality Education and Walk Tall. We are also proud to be a Friends for Life school. The Friends for Life programme, recognised by the World Health Organization, aims to help pupils develop resilience, courage and confidence in facing life's challenges. Through all of these initiatives, our pupils gain the knowledge, skills and attitudes needed to make healthy choices, build self-esteem, form positive relationships, stay safe online and lead happy, confident and fulfilling lives. At Mary Mother of Hope Senior National School, well-being permeates everything we do, all day, every day. It is our culture. We consistently communicate that we want in our school, we want children to be happy, safe, learning and smiling. We encourage children to set high expectations for themselves as individuals, as members of their class and as part of the wider community. Above all, we remind them to be their own best friend, fostering self-compassion and resilience in everything they do. This message is reinforced through a range of whole school initiatives throughout the year, ensuring that the well-being is experienced in every part of school life. We place particular emphasis on social well-being. During Friendship Week, pupils explore what it means to form healthy social connections, how to be a good friend and the value of kindness. Anti-bullying lessons and friendship lessons are central to this feature week, alongside cross-class friendship experience, competitions, random acts of kindness and much more. Our wellbeing journey, however, has not been without its challenges. To date, sadly, as a school, we have lost 2 pupils, 12 parents and a member of staff. In these times of loss, our school often becomes the first point of support for families. As leaders and staff, we understand the responsibility this brings. We support children and families and the wider school community, and they, in turn, support us. These experiences have profoundly shaped our approach to well-being, helping us to build a culture that is respectful, resilient and deeply rooted in care and compassion. Active School Week is an important week in our school to promote physical health and to teach the benefits of physical and mental health when engaged in sport. Our PE coordinator organises a variety of engaging activities to celebrate our school's Active Week. Everyone thoroughly enjoys Tracksuit Week, as everyone, including all teachers, get involved. We celebrate Seachtain na Gaeilge every year. This week focuses on our Irish language, culture and heritage. Our Seachtain na Gaeilge activities give children an opportunity to learn about their identity and heritage while having fun with Irish music, dancing and games. Funky Hair and Green Day is the highlight of the week. During Intercultural Week, our school come together to celebrate the diversity and richness of the many cultures that make up our school community, embodying our school motto, Many Cultures, One Community. Our intercultural exhibition and Show Your Colours to the World Day give our pupils and our parents opportunities to proudly share their cultural heritage. Parents visit classrooms to share traditions, story and experiences. The week culminates with an intercultural assembly and concert celebrating music, dance and cultural expression that promotes understanding, unity and appreciation of all cultures within our school community. Our School Wellbeing Committee organises a variety of events throughout the school year to promote both pupil and staff wellbeing. Weekly whole school mindfulness sessions include a whole school positive affirmation, actively promoting personal well-being across the entire school community. Termly Wellbeing Days focus on physical and mental well-being. Activities include a run, a mindful walk, yoga, mindful colouring and much more. Wellbeing Days aren't just for pupils. Staff participate in activities to promote their own well-being. Staff breakfasts, bowling, cycling and treats. Thank goodness it's Friday crunchies, surprisingly, are always a hit. In our school, the culture of well-being is shared, valued and lived in every classroom. Class teachers nurture well-being daily, starting each school year by developing a class code. This code sets out the expectations for the year, emphasising kindness, dignity, empathy and a commitment to learning for oneself and others. A variety of reward and recognition systems such as class dojos and golden time celebrate effort and commitment. Compliment chains, worry jars, class post boxes give pupils opportunities to celebrate achievements, to share worries and leave questions anonymously, allowing open discussion in a safe context. Classrooms also incorporate strategies to support mental and emotional well-being, including calm corners, mindfulness, Go Noodle, busy breaks and Just Dance. Daily, teachers provide safe and supportive environments where healthy, happy relationships flourish and children feel motivated, engaged, confident and assured in their learning. Our in-school leadership team and class teachers play a central role in promoting and supporting pupil well-being. We encourage children to be agents of their own learning, giving them opportunities to take responsibility, make decisions, and actively contribute to school life. Pupil voice is valued and respected throughout the school. Children are empowered through daily classroom engagement to use their pupil voice. Children have roles and responsibilities on our student-led committees, leading many whole school initiatives throughout the year. This commitment to pupil voice ensures that students are provided with meaningful opportunities to share their own experiences, opinions and hope for our school. Our school recognises the importance of pupils knowing that their input is heard, valued, considered and actively incorporated into school life. While our school has many practices and initiatives to support the well-being of all pupils, we are especially committed to caring for those with additional and complex needs. Guided by the Department of Education's continuum of support, we respond flexibly to each child's needs through the 3 levels: support for all, support for some and support for few, ensuring that every pupil receives the care and intervention that they need to feel supported and able to thrive. Our school is on a well-being journey where we continually thrive to build on best practice. This school year, our staff are delighted to engage with the newly published National Council of Special Education Relate framework, which we know will continue to deepen our understanding of pupil behaviour through a relational and inclusive approach. Relate encourages us to look beyond the behaviour to its causes, guided by its 8 principles, including pupil voice, regulation first, solution focused, neurodiversity affirmative, UDL, and in our opinion, the most important principle of all, the unconditional positive regard of the child. Together, the continuum of support and our engagement with the Relate framework will strengthen our inclusive practice, helping us to continue to create a positive, compassionate and nurturing environment where all children, particularly those with additional and complex needs, can flourish and be well. As principal, speaking about well-being, I cannot leave today without acknowledging the child we all meet in our schools. The child who, as we say in our school, needs minding. We know at times children can struggle. While we hope that every child who crosses our school threshold each morning is happy, safe and content, unfortunately this is not always the case. Family issues, separation, bereavement, anxiety or homelessness are daily realities for some of our pupils. We are not counsellors, psychologists or psychiatrists, and we understand that in situations where severe mental health concerns are suspected, we make the appropriate referrals. But there is much we can do. We can reach out, support and assure. And in our school, we do this with hot chocolate. And this means that a child needs a chat, needs to be cared for, needs to be minded. These children are given a discreet space where they can say anything, to chat, to cry, to be angry, to be sad or to shout. They are shown that they are supported, understood and cared for. Sometimes plans are made, targets are set, or daily check-ins arranged. Sometimes children just need to know you're there. We use the thumbs up sign. A child can signal any time that they need a chat. The same sign is used to say, I'm okay. There's nothing more rewarding than seeing a child giving you a thumbs up with that quiet smile that says, I'm okay, thank you, and I know you're looking out for me. So what does well-being mean? In Mary Mother of Hope Senior National School, it means it's at the heart of everything we do. And it is that way because in the foundation of Department of Education Wellbeing Policy is the understanding that children learn more effectively and have better academic outcomes when they're happy in their work, believe in themselves and feel acknowledged and supported within their school community. I hope today I've given you a picture of what well-being looks like in Mary Mother of Hope for our pupil. Every day in our school we strive to create a safe, inclusive and nurturing environment where every child, regardless of background or need, is cherished and respected and supported to reach their full potential. Through our ongoing engagement with the Department of Education's policies, the Wellbeing Framework, and our commitment to the well-being of our pupils, we will continue to strengthen our inclusive practice and deepen our understanding how best to support all children, including all of our children with additional and complex needs. Our core purpose, grounded in our values, is that every pupil be well now while preparing them to become well in the future, confident, resilient and compassionate, ready to thrive in an ever-changing world. We consistently reinforce this approach through our school culture, reminding children to be kind to themselves, mind themselves, care for others, and again, be their own best friends. As principal, I'm very aware that the journey of well-being in our school is ongoing, but our commitment is unwavering to ensure that every child who walks through our school doors feels happy, safe, learning and smiling each and every day. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anya. That was a wonderful presentation on well-being in schools, and I hope that you all learned something from it. We're going to round off our proceedings with a short interview that I'm going to conduct now with Dr. Catherine Corbett. Dr. Catherine Corbett was a board member of IPPN previously. She's a principal of a school in Dublin, Bishop Galvin National School in Dublin, and along with Rachel O'Reilly, a second-level school leader, she is the co-founder of the WIL Network, Women in Leadership and Learning. And I know that Catherine they facilitate, herself and Rachel, they facilitate quite a wonderful group who come together for high-level discussion on how you take leadership forward, how you support women in leadership, how you encourage more women to go look for leadership roles, to take on leadership roles, what are the conditions that make it sustainable for women to lead, and they have really opened up a lot of interesting discussions across the Irish system through their work. So bear with me now while I join Dr. Catherine Corbett for a chat. Catherine, it's good to have you with us.
Thanks, Damien.
And what is the WIL Network?
So WIL stands for Women in Learning and Leadership. It is a network that I co-founded with a colleague of mine. I'm in the primary sector and she's in the post-primary sector. I suppose our conversation started because we were both the first female principals in our school, and we were talking about, I suppose, the different challenges that we had faced in our career, the barriers, but also more importantly, I suppose, how we bridged those barriers and how we addressed as we wanted to grow, I suppose, in terms of our profession and in our career of what we did. And that conversation started at a teaching council event, actually, and it was to talk about specifically barriers and bridges for female leaders in education. And from there we designed a number of workshops because people were, there was a lot of interest, I suppose, in terms of that conversation. And we found that more and more women wanted to talk about their experiences, the supports that they needed, and also, I suppose, in terms of what they found helped in their career. The statistics in Ireland are, it's a predominantly female profession, the teaching profession. You've got almost 80% of primary and about 70% of post-primary. But when you go further, I suppose, in terms of educational leadership, those statistics don't follow. There's about half and half in terms of women and men in school leadership. So we were interested to find out, why are more women not in leadership? What were the barriers? And I suppose what has come across is really like women are not going for those positions. Myself and Rachel O'Connor is the other founder, and we really feel passionately about networking and the power of networking. So we decided to set up a network in 2022. We created a video on Twitter just about our experience, and we invited women interested in leadership to join this network for support, particularly aspiring female leaders, so that they could hear other experiences and share their experiences and support each other. So the network has grown hugely beyond our expectation, I suppose, and there is now 2,500 members in the network. There's no cost to joining, and we run events online and in person, I suppose, to create opportunities for women who are interested in leadership to connect with each other and I suppose talk about and share advice and support each other.
And are those events, they're well supported? I think we talked off air just a little bit about your bookings for the next event. Didn't take too long to sell out.
It doesn't. No, I suppose we started online to make it really accessible. So we would have once a month we would have what are called Will Chats, and the Will Chats are they're in the evening for 45 minutes. It's like a live podcast style. We encourage members to put in their headphones and go for a walk and listen in. It's like eavesdropping on a conversation, and we invite guests from in education and outside education. And so the Will Chats were very popular, but there's nothing compares to the in-person. And so we decided then to run an event called Will Brunch. We both love brunch, and just I suppose in terms of timing, it's from 10 a.m. to 12:30 on a Saturday morning, because we're very conscious of if you're working full time, weekends are busy. So to take that moment for yourself, I suppose in terms of your career and in terms of meeting like-minded women. So our first Will Brunch was in June 2022, and we put a limit on 50, and we were hoping people would turn up, and they did. And now we run those brunches 3 times a year. We have 150 places, and every time we release the tickets, within 24 hours, those tickets are snapped up. And I think it's just there's a need in the system for those type of events in terms of connecting and talking with like-minded people interested in leadership.
And for women who are heading out on a journey which will, maybe bring them to leadership positions, are there challenges there for women that are maybe not there for men or lads who are thinking in similar way?
Yeah, there's very little research in terms of women in education, but overall it's probably the 3 C's. What comes up in conversations, the first C is confidence. I suppose generically, maybe a teacher or a woman who's interested in a position might look at all the things that you might need for the position, and unless they have all 10, they mightn't go for a position, whereas their male colleague might have 6 out of the 10 and say, well, I'll put my name in anyway and see how it goes. So confidence is a big thing. Culture of, I suppose, role models. I'm the first female principal of my school. So when I got my position, I had 3 small children. I had an 8-month-old, and so many comments were made to me about how was I going to be able to do it all, how was I going to juggle everything. But I suppose I made leadership my own in my own way. I can't compare to my male, the predecessor who was male, because he was at a different life stage to me. So it's really important in terms of having role model. So confidence, culture, and the last one was childcare. Childcare, juggling the childcare, and that's for everybody,